Over the past few months I have changed so many clutches, it's not even funny, so why not do it again, because it is so much fun. As you can figure out by the Valeo clutch kit on the floor, I want to repair the E34 since last time we had this huge debacle with the anti-Y flywheel and clutch kit. Fortunately I did get all of my money back from that clutch kit, so at least that went according to plan. This time I went with Valeo. Valeo is well known for their conversion kits and I hope this one works. I've also analyzed this flywheel and there's also none of these weird pucks that were on the old flywheel, but the nubs for the crank pin, these do extend a lot further than on the anti-Y unit. Also on the Facebook forum I've heard of someone running this Valeo kit with success, so we should be good. The old kit was around 400 bucks, so still fairly expensive, but compared to a new flywheel from Look, which starts at 500 euros, well, at least I have the clutch and the throwout bearings and everything in one kit, and I don't have to spend another 250 euros to get that repaired. We also have another huge issue, that is lack of space. The E9 is taking up my work spot. We started work on that. If you haven't seen the video, check that out. I'm gonna have to move the Z3 over to that lot. And the Z will start hibernation early. This year it got around 300 kilometers, not even, I don't know, not a lot at all. Then we can work on that space. I've checked with the length. I think we're going to put the E9 all the way in the back, move the MK2 over here, and then this can be my working spot again. I'm quite sorry, but I already have to complain. 1, 2, snapped off. These pins don't really have a function as soon as the pressure plate is bolted down, but still, why is it impossible to get normal high quality parts that are not destroyed, that don't cost 5 million? It's just so frustrating and I don't want to complain, so I'm just gonna shut up. I still have a bit of space towards the front. The back tires are in the garage, the whole rear of the car is not. So it will be a wrenching with the garage door open day. Thankfully it's sunny. The car is now up in the air, and as you can imagine, it took me like a lot longer. Usually it takes me like 10 minutes at most. This time it took me like 25. So much longer because at the front you have to do it in increments because the jack is hitting the wall. And at the back I'm lying on gravel, which hurts. And because of the slope, the jack was really difficult to get in position, so terrible experience. First of all, exhaust. With zero space to work on. It looks so much better because we've already touched everything. The sandblasted cross member, the sandblasted transmission member. It just looks so much better and more inviting to work on, but whatever. Today we'll do everything very fast. I'll just use the air hammer because I don't have time. Last time I dropped the trans, I specifically only reinstalled one starter bolt because, yeah, removing both is a pain in the ass, so removing one is a tiny bit less of a pain in the ass. Yeah, that's all I'm trying to say. There's just one in there. I did get the bolt out fairly easy. Unfortunately, my camera arm, it just broke on the inside. I just had it standing like that and then somehow I almost forgot to remove the reverse light switch. Then it was already time to drop the gearbox. And once again, I did forget the 10mm bolt near the turbo, as always. Now we're going to compare this one with this one, and a thing that wasn't on the old one are these holes. I think that's from balancing, and the old one didn't have that, so either it wasn't balanced or it was perfectly in balance, which I doubt. Furthermore, the construction is again different, but a thing I'm noticing is the crank pickup points, they protrude a lot on the original one by about tiny bit more than 3 millimeters. On this one, even a tiny bit more. On the new one, the knobs protrude 3.5 millimeters. On this one, around 3.3. These had contact with the crank sensor, so it's normal that there's a little bit less than on the new one. But on the other one from NTY, these knobs didn't protrude at all. They were just like 1 millimeter above the flywheel. So maybe the reason it didn't work is because the pickup points were too close to the flywheel, and the flywheel is metal, the pickup points are metal, so the crank sensor doesn't see enough difference between the two parts to get a good signal. That's just a guess, but that could be completely wrong. Please write a comment on what you think was the reason why the other one didn't work and this one will work. Well, at least I hope it will work. These things have a lot better and more thread locker already pre-applied than the other set, so I'm not gonna add more. All the main bolts are torqued to 105 Newton. That's already good. Some mandatory cleaning. Same for the pressure plate. A cheap centering tool. Also, a thing I wanted to do at the same time was to remove the shifter bushings, because I have extreme slop, like it's crazy, and replace them, but yeah, they have not yet arrived. So I'll do that at another time. I will take care of one thing though, and that is this clip. With the transmission installed, it is almost impossible to remove it. I've tried 2 times but failed. What I'm gonna do is pry it open a bit more than usual so that I can remove it once the transmission is installed in the car and don't have to drop the whole tranny again to remove it next time. So next time I will just do this from underneath the car and then I can remove it. Also, it is very tight to remove because the bushing exerts a lot of force in it. Last time I had the gearbox out, I also removed the throwout bearing, but with a no-name brand, so I will replace it again. For a valeo one. It does fit a lot more snug in here, so I guess that's better. We will also reinstall the new Bosch sensor I removed as soon as I noticed that the flywheel was grinding against it. Yeah, unfortunately there has been some damage done. That thing also sits deep in there, so I'll just remove it. Fortunately, it's not like it is on newer cars and you have to remove the whole car to remove something easy, so I'm grateful. I did remove the whole bracket because that's a lot easier to do, and I do need to reset the air gap anyways, so it doesn't change anything. I love these old zinc plated parts, they look so fancy. As you may or may not be able to see, I have my gauge in there. Then you have to set the flywheel with the knob on the same height as the crank sensor. Push the crank sensor towards the flywheel, sandwich this, then tighten the 10mm nut holding the assembly and the air gap is set. And now I'm going to reinstall the transmission. Fortunately tipped over the camera while reinstalling the transmission, so I couldn't film. But everything to start is installed. Let's see if it works. It's in neutral. It works! I am very, very happy that this is now working, because the whole debacle with the old flywheel from NTY, that was a nightmare. So I'll just button everything up and then we'll go for a drive. So I am really happy with the conversion. It drives super nice. In low revs there's a bit of a rattle, but if you have music on, it's not really noticeable because it is just a very, very slight humming noise. There's no real downside to this, especially if you're like me and you come from a really, really destroyed dual mass flywheel. So yeah, I really recommend this set. It's okay, it works. I've already test driven the car It feels amazing. It does run a lot smoother, takes the gas better, and low-end torque is better, but that's due to the crank sensor, because the air gap was like really off by a lot before, so I think that's what it was. Also, the clutch engagement is way smoother and there's less vibrations in the chassis, and one of the rattles went away. Single mass flywheels can be a bit less comfortable than normal ones, but now I have an improvement. Since the old dual mass flywheel was really broken, this does not bother me, and if I keep the revs a bit higher, there are no more vibrations, which is really nice. That being said, the next E34 video will be on these PowerFlex subframe bushings, which I look forward to a lot. The old ones are torn and yeah, they don't handle good anymore. Furthermore, we bought some storage racks to get all the parts of the car. And then we're gonna get a quote from a body guy to do the rust. But yeah, let's not turn this into an E9 video.